Chapter 13, Nature, the Enjoyer and Consciousness, and text 32 and 33. 33 at the time. Shall we read both? Or one by one? One at a time. Anadipam Nirgunatvam Paramapmayam Avyaya Sarirashto Api Konteya Na Karoti Na Lipyate Anadipam Nirgunatvam Paramatmayam Avyaya Sarirastopi Konteya Nakaroti Nalikyate Anadipam Nirgunatvam Paramatmayam Avyaya Sarirastopi Konteya Nakaroti Nalikyate Anadipam Nirgunatvam Paramatmayam Avyaya Sarirastopi Konteya Nakaroti Nalikyate. Somebody else? Paramatmayam Avyaya Sarirastopi Konteya Nakaroti Nalikyate Anadipam Nirgunatvam Paramatmayam Avyaya Sarirastopi Konteya Nakaroti Nalikyate Anadipam Nirgunatvam Paramatmayam Avyaya Sarirastopi Konteya Nakaroti Nalikyate Anadipam Nirgunatvam Paramatmayam Avyaya Sarirastopi Konteya Nakaroti Nalikyate. Somebody else? Go ahead. Oh, outside. Somebody tried to join us. Anadipam due to eternity. Nirgunatvam due to being transcendental. Parama beyond material nature. Atma spirit. Ayam this. Avyayaha inexhaustible. Sharirashta dwelling in the body. Api do. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Nakaroti entangled. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace H.H.B.A.Janardan Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. Everybody please repeat. Those with a vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. Purport. A living entity appears to be born because of the birth of the material body. But actually, the living entity is eternal. He is not born, and in spite of his being situated in a material body, he is transcendental and eternal. Thus, he cannot be destroyed. By nature, he is full of bliss. He does not engage himself in any material activities. Therefore, the activities performed due to his contact with material bodies do not entangle him. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Salakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Gita Padakamanam Shri Guru Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Nitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Raghunatam Shri Vishakam Vitamsya Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagarvate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kamala Vastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishapano Shukrede Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Anaditvam nirgunatvat paratmamayam jaya Sharirasto pigonteya na karoti na lidyate. So the soul is eternal, transcendental, anaditva, nirgunatva, transcendental, and parama, beyond material nature. This is the nature of the Atma, the spirit soul. Inexhaustible, sarirasta, but dwelling in the body. So those who are realized souls, they understand that the body is not the real self, that the real self is the soul, and there is no relationship besides it is combined right now, the body and soul. But at the same time, Prabhupada gave an example, it's like oil and water. You can put the oil in the water, seemingly they're combined, but the oil is not within the water, it's waterproof, it's not wet, right? So here, even though the living entity is eternal and the body is temporary, but somehow or other, the eternal soul has to be embodied in this material form to exhibit the desires that one had in the past, or to receive the reactions from one's fruited activities, either to enjoy or to suffer. But still the soul is not getting, what do you say, affected in a sense. It only gets affected when the soul identifies with the body as a self. It's like the yogis. The yogis, they can meditate even in the cold water, under cold water, or even in a hot summer, and they're not affected at all. Okay. The soul is not affected by anything that's going on out there. Prabhupada was once, he was giving a class one time, and there was a child making a little problem, some noise, and then he told the mother to bring the child outside, and one of the audience is, "Why are you becoming disturbed?" "I'm not disturbed. You are disturbed. I don't want you to become disturbed, because Yogi Prabhupada cannot be disturbed by anything." One time he says, also all the children should go outside, because during class they may make some problem. And then there is one mother, and she really wanted to listen to the class, Prabhupada's class. And Prabhupada says, "You can stay." And that child didn't make any noise during the whole class. And the mother thought, how did Prabhupada know that my child will not make any noise? All the children went out except that one boy. So the body is temporary. That means the activities of this body, material form, is temporary. Now when the soul performs activities, that means only for the pleasure of Krishna. When the soul identifies with the body as the self, then the activities that he performs is only for his bodily pleasure, sense enjoyment. Unlike when the soul understood that, well, I should act accordingly, not according to my mind, not according to my false ego, but according to the soul platform, then he performs bhakti. And when he performs bhakti, which means pure devotional service, that means unselfish, no material motive, only for the pleasure of Krishna, therefore his activities are transcendental. It has effect which ultimately will bring him back home, back to Godhead one day. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that anartha-nivriti is the last platform, last stage, whereby one can lead, if that is his activities, to go back home, back to Godhead. Anartha-nivriti means activities which are gradual and automatically will bring one into liberation, liberated platform. This is what we study this Nectar of Devotion. There is this Anartha-nivriti section where it says that you gradually, but automatically at the same time, eliminating the desires, unwanted desires. And the living beings who are in the material world, there is no way, such a time that they will not have any desires. They will always have desire, even for a rasgulla. Prabhupada says if you desire for a rasgulla, at the end of your life, you still have to come back to get that rasgulla. If your desire is to have a rasgulla to feed Krishna, then you'll go back to Godhead and to feed Krishna with that rasgulla. But to enjoy that rasgulla, at the time of death, you have to come back to receive that rasgulla, to enjoy. So, this anartha-nivriti is due to our false ego. Then we desire separately from what Krishna desires for us. These unwanted desires are considered as like enemies of the soul. The soul, of course, it's not affected by any of these things, but at the same time, when the living entity he thinks that he is the body, then he gets affected by these sinful desires, motivations. And those who are surrendered unto Krishna, these very exalted personalities, not everyone can ultimately surrender to Krishna. Very few. We can try, still trying is still rare, but ultimately to have that full surrender unto Krishna with the mind, body, and words, it's still extremely rare. They see the material world as Krishna's mercy. Those who are not surrendered, that means those who are here for material sense enjoyment, they don't consider that Krishna's creation of the material world is His mercy. They think that this is there for their sense enjoyment. And unfortunately though, they cannot fulfill their enjoyment. They cannot fulfill their desires to completely become happy. Only devotees are happy. If you are not a devotee, then you are not happy. You only think you are happy. And devotees' activities, because they are engaged in devotional service, are unlimited. And therefore, their happiness also is unlimited. Like for example, we want to serve Krishna and cook for Krishna. Unlimited preparations, practically. It's like when there is festival, how many kinds of preparations? Sometimes there's a competition. I can make 108. Oh, I can make, 200. Okay, and then they combine everything together, and then the whole temple floor or areas, like you go to some temples like Mumbai or something, the whole temple room is full of offerings, practically. Now, that is spiritual. Because service to Krishna is eternal, therefore service for him is unlimited. Materially speaking, they want to enjoy, but their enjoyment is limited. And therefore, if they want to enjoy, they can only think of few things to enjoy. Intoxication, woman, wealth, and so on. As much as they want to keep piling up and piling up that kind of enjoyment, but it only goes a certain limit. More likely they'll just fall asleep when they want to enjoy. Unlike the devotees, when they want to enjoy for the pleasure of Krishna, they're fully awake. Isn't it? Huh? The materialists are like this. When they think that real enjoyment means ultimately falling asleep. Falling asleep. Because the body cannot handle it anymore. The mind is overused. Then what do? They just take rest. And that is enjoyment for them. Because being in the bodily platform. Now, when the soul, he understands that the actual activity is to serve Krishna, and because he sees the whole material creation as Krishna's mercy, he uses everything for Krishna's service. He does not get entangled. There's no entanglement because he knows who is the real proprietor, the ultimate proprietor. He just offers everything to Krishna. For others, they exploit Krishna's energy for their own benefit. Ultimately, then they have to suffer and again take birth to suffer again and again and again. For the devotees, serving Krishna, knowing that Krishna is the ultimate proprietor and everything belongs to him and everything is Krishna's mercy, therefore, when they serve Krishna, they are content. It doesn't matter whether they take birth in the spiritual world, in the heavenly planets, or the hellish planets. Or even if they take birth again in the same platform. That is the difference. He cannot be destroyed. He knows that he cannot be destroyed. He's not afraid of death. The devotee is not afraid of death. Of course, that doesn't mean he doesn't take care of his or her body. He still has to be healthy. He has to be, he says, oh, I'm not afraid of death. That means it doesn't matter what happens to me. Therefore, I don't have to take care of myself. Therefore, I can cross the street. I don't have to look here and there. Or I have a disease. I don't have to go see a doctor. No. We still have to take care of our body because our body belongs to Krishna. When Sanatana Goswami, he thought himself unqualified to meet the Lord because he got this disease going through the forest to see the Lord, and he contacted some skin disease. And when he sees the Lord, he says, I just want to give up my body. He says, no, you cannot. It doesn't belong to you. This body doesn't belong to us. This body belongs to Krishna. Therefore, we use it for Krishna's service. And the more we use it for Krishna's service, the more it becomes purified. The more it becomes every action and every activity is eternal. That's why he doesn't mind whether he takes birth even as a dog, but only in the house of a Vaishnava. It doesn't matter whether he takes birth as an insect, but only in the house of a Vaishnava, because there's always hearing and chanting in the house, or every Vaishnava's house or residence. See, the devotees, the more one becomes advanced in Krishna consciousness, and the more he becomes attached in hearing and chanting. Harikatha or Kirtan. Harikatha is also Kirtan. Therefore, he cannot be destroyed as long as he is hearing this. It doesn't matter which form he belongs to or he attains. By nature, he is full of bliss. That is the nature of the soul. Anandamaya Vyasa. This is the nature of the living beings. Because Krishna is always blissful, therefore his parts and parcels are also blissful. He does not engage himself in any material activities. That means the realized souls, all of their actions are spiritual. But then those who are not realized, those who are covered up by the modes of material nature, the soul is just, it is compared to like the passenger and a chariot. The body is changing, birth after birth, and the soul just move on. It's like Prabhupada gave an example. It's like going to a different room also. One can afford a room in the MBT, but sometimes if he runs out of money, then he can only afford a room in Tanuka. But it's the same person. It's just moving different rooms, and therefore different facilities is being experienced by the soul. But soul is still not affected. Only the soul becomes affected when he thinks that he is the body. Very, very simple analysis there. It says here, therefore the activities performed due to his contact with material bodies do not entangle him. A person who is self-realized, he understands that he is not entangled. A person who is under the modes of material nature, of course, he is entangled at the same time. He does not know that he is suffering, but he thinks that is part of it enjoying. As Prabhupada says that the suffering or the enjoyment in the material world, because it is temporary, it is considered as part of the suffering. Ultimately, it is also suffering because the soul wants eternal happiness, but it cannot be experienced or attained in this material body. Which means if the soul experiences some kind of happiness in the material world, which is material happiness, is not real happiness because it cannot fully satisfy the real self, the soul. Only when one performs devotional service for the pleasure of Krishna. That's amazing, huh? You don't want to enjoy yourself and you're becoming happy. You want to enjoy yourself, you think you're happy. You want to serve Krishna, you're happy. You want to enjoy yourself, you are unhappy. Only devotees can understand this. A materialist, you tell them, you try to please somebody, you will be happy. Are you crazy? I wanted to make a person happy and I'll be happy? Why can't I be happy? I want to become happy and I cannot be happy. Doesn't make sense. But this is how the mystery here, spiritual mystery. We want to please Krishna, but the result is that we become happy. We want to enjoy ourselves, the result is we suffer. Hare Krishna. Okay, we go to the next one. Yata sarvagatam sokshmyan Yata sarvagatam Soksmyan Akasam no Palivyate Akasam no Palivyate Sarvatro Bastito Dehe Tatatmano Palivyate. Somebody else? Yata sarvam gatam soksmyan Akasam no palivyate Sarvatra vastito dehe Atmano palivyate
Yata sarvam gatam soksmyan
Akasam no palivyate Sarvatravastito dehe Atmano palivyate. Sarvastito dehe Atmano palivyate. Akasam no palivyate Sarvatravastito dehe Atmano palivyate. Yata as Sarvagatam all pervading Soksmyan due to being subtle Akasham the sky na never Upalivyate mixes Sarvatra everywhere Avasthita situated Dehe in the body Tata so Atma the self na never Upalivyate mixes. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all-pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman, vision, does not mix with the body, though situated in the body. Everybody, please repeat. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all-pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. Purport. The air enters into water, mud, stool, and whatever else is there. Still, it does not mix with anything. Similarly, the living entity, even though situated in varieties of bodies, is aloof from them due to his subtle nature. Therefore, it is impossible to see with the material eyes how the living entity is in contact with his body and how he is out of it after the destruction of the body. No one in science can ascertain this. This is how it says in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Some look at the soul as amazing. Some, after understanding it, still cannot figure it out. It's so amazing. The soul is inside the body. But where inside the body? all-pervading. It says though that it's within the heart, but this heart is not the real heart. There is still the subtle. Where is that heart of the body? It's a material heart, but we have a spiritual heart also, where the soul actually resides. And it says also that the mind and the heart also are synonymous. When the soul leaves the body, we can tell when the person is dead, the heart is not pumping anymore. It stops. That's why the doctor, to ascertain whether the person is dead or alive, is to hear the beating of the heart. If all the functions of the body stops except the heart, still the person is alive. So Prabhupada gave an example, just like also when what happens, there is like this heart transplant. If the person really lives in the body, in the heart, what happens if the soul is like being transferred? Is the soul also transferred because the heart is being given to another person? No, it's the same. It's like changing the chair. Prabhupada gave an example. He just changed the seat, but still the same person resides. And what is amazing actually is that not so easy to understand the soul. Not so easy. Usually we identify with the mind. Usually we identify with the senses. We identify with the body, but how many really actually identify that they are not this body and their soul and acting in the soul platform? Now there is this duty, and there is what you call acting out of duty and acting out of love. There's two different things. When one acts out of duty, that is material. Just like an officer is act out of his duty because he's an officer in the army or a policeman. But out of love, he will act differently. Unlike nowadays, in America, the police, they're using their, say, because it's my duty to protect, but then they abuse their duties. But if they see everyone in equal vision, whether it's a black or a white or Hispanics, or Caucasian, whatever, and they will see that, yes, he's a spirit soul. So it's very difficult how to distinguish this. Prabhupada gave an example also how the closest example of definition of love is that of a mother to a child. Right? But we've seen also that sometimes they don't act. Mothers nowadays, they don't act like they're supposed to be like mothers. Of course, the duty of the parents is to educate the children. That is duty. But if they act in the love platform, they will educate their children to grow up to be Krishna conscious. That is love. If their main duty is that, oh, I have to provide my child good education so that his or her future will be bright, have a good job, right? Have a nice family, and I'll be satisfied. That is, I say, duty. But the real purpose of being a mother or parents is to bring their children to become Krishna conscious. So that is acting in the soul platform. And it says here that the soul is compared to the air. It enters into different elements, carries aroma, but at the same time separate. The air enters in the stool, water, mud, or even a flower, carries aroma, but still the air is separate from the aroma. It's just carrier. So similarly, the soul transfers into different species of life, different forms, 8,400,000 species, and at the same time, not considered as being that body, still separate. Situated in different varieties of bodies, but still aloof due to its subtle nature. As we given the example again, the oil and water. So it is impossible to see this with our material eyes. We can only see this through our spiritual master, Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Shastra Chakshu. There is a saying as Shastra Chakshu. Through the eyes of Shastra, we'll be able to understand or see this. With our eyes right now, no. Atasi Krishna Nama Di Nabhagat Graya Indriyai Sevan Mukhi Jivado Swayam Eva Spuratyada. Our senses contaminated, cannot understand, our mind is polluted, is disturbed, our ego is misplaced, misidentifying the body as a self, and only one who can open our eyes is through Guru, through Sadhu and Shastra. It is not possible. No educational institution can teach this to a living being. It is not possible. They're the ones who can actually open our eyes. When we say this prayer, Om Dhyana Timrandasya Dhananjana Shalakya Chakshur Ulmetam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. My eyes is now covered up with ignorance. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with a torch light. It's like in India they call flashlight torch. We don't call torch flashlight in America. We call it what do you call this? Flashlight. We don't call it torch. But the translation would be the torch light. Because torch actually is more brighter than flashlight. We say torch. It's like, you know, what do you call this famous flashlights in America? Maglite. Maglite. They have small, triple A, they have double A, but they have, like, you know, the police use real big torchlight. The size, and they use them as also as a weapon. But the Guru's torch is like 1,000 suns shining at the same time. Without sun, Prabhupada says, without the sun, we're blind. Without the sun, we cannot see, even in front of us. So this torch light of knowledge, the knowledge, this big gyan, this gyan that the spiritual master is giving to us, is being revealed to us, is not from him also. It's coming through, ultimately from Krishna, through Shastra. That's why Krishna, no one can refute the knowledge from Krishna, because he is the source of knowledge. Krishna is the source of everything. Krishna is the source of knowledge. Therefore, he cannot be covered by ignorance or nescience. He's always in light. And that's why our motto, what's the motto in Back to Godhead? What's that?
Knowledge is life. Knowledge is life.
Knowledge is
light.
light. Nescience is darkness.
Nations in darkness.
Yes. And back home, when there is no...
There is the light, there is no...
Yeah, when there is light, there is no darkness. When there is... Yeah, when there is God, there is light. So ultimately, the torch light is coming from Godhead. And they don't teach this in school. This will only come after a certain time. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, you cannot force anyone to become Krishna conscious, to take up the Krishna consciousness. We know that also you can bring the horse to the water, but you cannot make the horse drink the water. It will only come when the time is, when the right time has come, then one will take up the Krishna consciousness. And it says in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya that one day all will become Krishna conscious. But there will be always rebellious.
So we should not preach.
Huh?
So we should not preach.
No. You have to preach.
No, why I should bring force and it will not...
No. Because,
so what's the use?
See, the use is that you give them a chance. If you don't give them the chance, then your existence is not becoming purified. You become purified when you tell others, even if they don't listen to you.
But it will not drink their water. What's the use?
They may drink water after some time when they become thirsty. Because they will know that the water is there when you become thirsty. So you give them a chance. Once you become thirsty, okay, it's available. But I'm giving it to you right now. Just like Prabhupada says, these books are like time bombs. Sometimes devotees, they become devotees, they found these books after like 10 years. They opened their mother's library and they saw Bhagavad Gita. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, you cannot force anybody. Only time will come, when the right time comes, then they will take it up. Through the inspiration from the Super Soul also. So our duty, see, the motto of the materialist is, let everyone suffer and I'm the only one who will become happy, I don't care. I'm the only one who I just want to be happy and let the whole world suffer. This is the materialist motto. Now the devotee's motto is, let me suffer, let the whole world be happy. You see the difference? And the devotee will take all the risks. They will even go to war zones. They will even go to the places where it's the most dangerous places in the world to preach. Because they know that by risking their lives, they become closer and become more and more nearer to Krishna. So they're acting in the love platform. It is not out of duty because they know that the souls are suffering in the material world, and therefore it is my how I can repay what I received from my Guru Maharaj and from Krishna. That I have to tell others. Prabhupada, he did not expect anyone will hear when he wrote that poem in Jaladuta. Who will hear me? When he went to America, he says, I'm just an insignificant beggar. You can make me dance as you like. But I don't know who will take up this process. I don't see how they can take up this so degraded. But I have full faith in you and my spiritual master. Therefore, please let me try. So we can only try. Don't expect that when you tell others that they'll become convinced. Then you'll just become frustrated. You will not ultimately you'll give it up. We should shoot for the right rhinoceros, Prabhupada said. Shoot for the rhinoceros. And at least we can say, I tried. The success is not depending on how we preach. The success is ultimately how Krishna will give them the intelligence. So we pray like that. When we tell others about Krishna, when we tell about others about this philosophy, this science of Krishna consciousness, ultimately we pray to Krishna that let you be intervene in their life. Because the devotee, he never thinks that I can protect myself. The materialists, they always think like that. I can be protected by my money, by my relatives, by my position. I'm protected. Now the devotee, they always feel helpless. That without Krishna's protection, I am finished. So when we preach and we tell others about this Krishna consciousness, ultimately, it is up to Krishna. If they take up the process or not. But we have to do, still at the same time, it is our duty. And love, that is together. For the devotee, is the duty of the devotee is to tell others about Krishna because he is love for Krishna. And because Krishna has the most compassionate nature. No one can be more compassionate than Krishna. No one can be more merciful than Krishna. We can be instrument. We can be instrument of that nature of Krishna being compassionate or mercifulness. Being merciful. So being an instrument, we always put ourselves as in a low position. We never think that, yes, I'm a big preacher and I can convince the whole world, whoever I meet, about Krishna. Then it is not possible. One will feel frustrated after some time, I cannot convince even a single person. So I'm useless. No, we should always feel helpless, and we are duty bound to our spiritual master because this is the only way how we can repay him from the mercy that he gave to us coming from the disciplic succession and the Supreme Lord himself. Yes,
I was just going to reiterate that.
Can we use the microphone so I can hear you?
Yeah, get the mic, please.
Hi, Krishna. I was just going to say, I've met several devotees who have stories like, oh, their mom was sold this book 10 years ago and she left it on the kitchen table and it just got put at the back of the shelf, and then I was doing a Maha cleanup, I found this book and now I'm a devotee, And the other girl, the devotees used to go around door to door and collect donations for the temple we have in Durban. And every time they'd get a donation, they'd give one of Prabhupada's little books. And these books would just get thrown behind the TV. Behind the TV, And then the child, she was just tiny when the devotees used to come, and she was so happy to see the devotees. And then she grew up, and she's cleaning up, and she finds all these books behind the TV, and she starts reading them. And now she's fixed up, very, very fixed up devotee. So actually, we're not the controllers. We've been. Krishna says, there's no one more dear to me than one who teaches this message or gives this message. So in Prabhupada's books, the message is there, very clear. No matter, we can stand and talk to someone for 2 hours and nothing will penetrate, but just one little book, and they take it with them, and somewhere along the line, the devotee will be will register, and it'll be right for them. So, I've met someone who was walking down the road and there was a Krishna book lying on the pavement, and he wondered, what's this? He picks it up and takes it home and becomes a devotee. It's, as devotees, our duty is to share this wonderful gift we have, and it's Krishna's business who accepts it when.